when and how surging inflation may end. Rent, food, petrol, and about everything else recently increased in price as the Consumer Price Index, CPI, increased by 7.9%. That's roughly 4 times the Federal Reserve's goal rate of 2%. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has only further disrupted global supply chains and energy security, both of which are major inflationary drivers. Experts recently shared their perspectives on what it all means for consumers and when they might anticipate relief, concentrating on 4 areas and concerns. 1. Inflation probably will peak in April. A triad of factors fuels the current bout of inflation: 1. A decrease in the number of individuals willing to work, 2. Supply chain disruptions, and 3. Significant increases in the money supply by the Federal Reserve. The first 2 factors, according to experts, will only have a temporary and transitory effect, but the third will continue to have inflationary effects if the Fed continues to increase the money supply at the same rate as it has since COVID-19. Fortunately, despite concerns that the situation in Ukraine may have deflationary consequences, the Fed is still likely to raise interest rates this month, and this should have a deflationary effect. 2. There will be no end to inflation until the price of oil levels off. The rising cost of gasoline accounts for over 1/3 of the CPI. Prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, America imported only 2% of its oil from Russia. However, because the global commodities market prices oil, the disruption to Russia's huge energy industry will be felt worldwide. As a result, unless there is a significant increase in global petroleum output, a fall in the rate of inflation seems unlikely soon. 3. Demand destruction must occur. For inflation to decrease, either supply must increase, or demand must decrease. The good news is that demand has already begun to decrease. The sad news is the reason prices have grown to the point where the poorest households can no longer afford to buy many of the items they need. On the other hand, the more affluent households have paid little attention to inflation as their income levels remain high. According to recent data, spending growth among lower income groups has been much lower year over year, while spending growth among higher income individuals has continued to rise. 4. The war in Ukraine must end. Most economists believed before Russia attacked Ukraine that recovered supply chains, reduced consumer demand, Fed rate hikes and balance sheet reductions would keep inflation at around 4% for the year before returning to normal by the end of 2022. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia changed everything, driving up oil prices. A land conflict in Europe, as well as shifting international borders and alliances, are now possible military outcomes. With so many factors, it's becoming more difficult to make reliable economic projections, and economists don't expect inflation to return to historic levels until the war in Ukraine ends and the Fed slows the increase of the money supply. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It helps others find our content. And please be sure to visit Econobits.com for a list of resources and references.